my name is Alycia Sones, and this is my podcast summarizing the methodology behind my research study at the University of Limerick. The title of my research project is The Role of Analogies and Anchors in Secondary Students' Misconceptions in Mathematics. The aim of this research is to determine if employing the strategy of analogies and anchors is effective in correcting students' misconceptions in several different areas of mathematics. My research will focus on the area of fractions and decimal misconceptions, while two other students will conduct similar research on different topic areas in maths. A misconception can be defined as a student's erroneous concept that produces a systematic pattern of errors. So making a mistake on a question doesn't necessarily mean you hold a misconception, but making the same mistake repeatedly due to an incorrect belief or idea constitutes as a misconception. For this study, approximately 20 to 30 first-year students at an all-boys school in Limerick, Ireland, will write two tests and some students will be interviewed. They will write two tests consecutively, starting with version A and followed by version B. The answers will then be observed and interviews will then be set up with any students who had an incorrect answer on version A but a correct answer for the corresponding question on version B. The data will then be assessed to determine how successful this anchoring and analogy approach was for correcting students' misconceptions regarding fractions or decimals. Let me give you an example to help make sense of all this. On version A of my test, I asked the question, Mary and John both have pocket money. Mary spends a quarter of hers and John spends 1/2 of his. Is it possible that Mary spent more than John? Any students who believe that Mary can't spend more money than John because 1/4 is smaller than 1/2 holds a misconception that all fractions are of the same value or quantity. Therefore, to hopefully clear things up, version B asks the question like so. Mary and John both have pocket money. Mary has €20 and John has 6. Mary spends 1/4 of her money and John spends 1/2 of his. Who spent more money? Any students who then realize that Mary did in fact spend more money show promise of changed understanding and the potential fixing of their previously held misconception. During the interview, students might express that they still believe that their answer to version A is correct. This would mean that they still hold the misconception. But if the student looks back over the questions and expresses that they believe that their answer on version A was incorrect, then this means that the anchoring question on version B was successful in clearing up their misconception that all fractions are fractions of the same whole value. This method of anchors and analogies to correct students' previously held misconceptions has been used in many other areas of mathematics and science. The study aims to determine if the method can also be effective in the specific area of fractions and decimals in secondary school students. If it is found to be effective, then teachers can adopt this method of clearing up misconceptions in their own classrooms. Thank you for listening to my podcast.